Welcome to day number 5 of the free TradeLikeVu bootcamp, and I'm honestly very proud of you because you've made it so far. Okay, you showed that you committed to the process and you're showing like a tendency every single day. So just be proud of yourself, man. You committed to the process and you've shown consistency so far. Okay, so 5 days in, 25 days more to go. So let's keep it up. All right. What is today's episode about? Let me talk about the harsh reality of trading. And actually, I wanted to talk about technical analysis and dive deeper into the technical concepts because I think you're very excited to know how trading actually works in the charts, in front of the charts, and how I see the markets, how I analyze the markets day in, day out. But I've decided to put in this topic first because this is a really foundational and basic topic we need to talk about first, because it's very important for you to understand the harsh reality of trading. And I actually want to get you out of the illusion that you are currently stuck or caught in 2026, because the trading space all over social media, like on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, is showing you trading in a way that is very bad. Okay, so how people nowadays perceive trading is really bad because they think trading is a get rich quick scheme, right? And let me tell you that it isn't. So what is the harsh reality of trading is that trading is one of the hardest businesses in the world, and there's a reason for that, right? Because let me tell you, why is it that 99% of all traders are unprofitable if trading was that easy? Can you imagine? Why is it that most trading gurus out there sell you indicators, sell you signals, sell you strategies, and still you are not able to become a profitable trader? Think about it. So, the reality is that strategies, patterns, indicators, signals, or whatever are actually not the most common reason or like the most important part for you in order to become a profitable trader. It's only half of it, okay? And let me tell you the other half of it. So the first half of it is, of course, you need to know how to read markets. You need to have a strategy within the markets. You need to have a statistical proven edge, right? But the second half and the more important half is trading psychology, is having a regulated nervous system, is being in a state of self-awareness so that you can actually execute your system or your strategy or whatever every single day, right? Under immense pressure if you're in front of the charts. So that's the part most people don't tell you or don't teach you, because that's actually the harder part, right? Strategy, system, indicators, like how you read the markets and how you get into the markets, how you like place a trade. That's the easy part of trading, and everybody can learn that within a day or within a few days or within a week, right? But the hardest part is that trading is actually a you versus you game, because when you're in front of the charts and you need to execute your strategy, emotions are rising, right? Your shoulders tighten, your heart starts racing, right? And that's when you need to be able to regulate your nervous system, to be able to get yourself into a state of self-awareness so that you can execute your strategy actually how it's supposed to be executed, without revenge trading, without over trading, right? And that is the hardest part of trading, and that is the part like nobody, not even a single mentor in the space, teaches you, okay? And that is what I want to talk about within this video. And that is the reality, right? So in order for you to learn how to regulate your nervous system, how to get yourself into that state of self-awareness, you have to put in the work, okay? And how do you actually do it? By repetitions, okay? By repeating your process every single day so that your brain like learns how to actually stick to your own process. Because if you repeat the same mistakes over and over again, day in, day out, your brain gets used to it. Your brain develops this bad habit of breaking your rules, of breaking your own promises to yourself, and that reinforces this basically doom cycle. So you're like stuck in that never-ending doom cycle because you keep breaking your own rules, right? So you need to break out of that cycle, but how do you actually do that? Because if it was that simple to get out of that doom cycle, everybody would manage to do it, right? But still, 99% of people, 99% of all traders out there are not able to break out of this doom cycle, right? So you need to do the hard part of trading, which is you need to rewire your brain. You need to retrain your brain. And actually, you need to overcome your identity. That is the hardest part in trading, because your current self, your current identity is not able to become a profitable trader because you keep breaking your own rules. You keep blowing accounts. So you keep jumping strategies, okay? You keep showing yourself, you keep showing your own brain that you are not a consistent and disciplined trader, and that is the problem. Okay, so the only solution to break out of the cycle, to solve this problem, is to do the exact opposite. Even if it feels hard, even if it doesn't feel like you want to do what your conscious brain tells you to do, because you know how to not break your rules, right? You know that you should stick to your rules, but you still don't do it because you FOMO in, you like watch the charts like a maniac. Yeah, you sit in front of the charts watching every single candle moving, and then you ask yourself, why are you like FOMOing in? Yeah, because you attach yourself to the markets, and that is like a very, very big problem you need to learn to deal with, right? So detach yourself from the markets in order to become a profitable trader, because if you are detached from the markets, you don't care about one single outcome of your trades. What you should really care about is sticking to all your rules, right? Sticking to your strategy no matter what, no matter what feelings you have in that exact moment, no matter what you think the outcome will be, okay? So that is the hardest part about trading, is to actually stick to your rules, regardless of what you think, regardless of how you feel, regardless of anything actually, right? And that is the hardest part, because that is a behavior that you need to train yourself to be able to do within uncertainty, okay, within an area of uncertainty, because the market is a whole sea of uncertainty, right? The market is full of uncertainty. Everything in the markets is uncertain, because if anything in the markets would be certain, everybody and the model would be profitable, right? So, as I said, trading consists of two very important parts. The first one being a trading system, right? So that consists of your strategy, like of your entry confirmation and all the technical stuff, right? And on the other hand, you need the second part, which is psychology, execution, nervous system, and state of self-awareness, right? So that is very, very important for you to understand. And let me tell you that trading is also a zero-sum game. What does that mean? That means if you win a trade, somebody else is losing that trade. And contrary to that, logically, that means that if you lose a trade, somebody else wins that trade, right? And trading is financial warfare, actually, right? So when you get into the markets, when you are trading in the markets, you are actually having a financial warfare with other traders, like big hedge funds, big banks, big institutions, right? You are competing against all these people. And that's why it's called a financial warfare, right? And in order for you to survive within that financial warfare, you need to have protocols, right? You need to have a plan that you can stick to. And that's leading me back to the topic we just talked about, which is the first one, so the system and the strategy, okay? So in order for you to stick to your strategy and to your system, you need to have strict protocols that you follow every single day, regardless of anything, regardless of your emotions, regardless of your thoughts, and like regardless of your predictions and your anticipations and whatever your mind is wanting you to believe, right? So you need to be able to stick to those protocols every single day, regardless of everything, okay? So how do you do that? You need to have morning and evening protocols so that you build and train your discipline, okay? You need to retrain, to rewire your brain into building good habits and removing your bad habits that you actually have, right? And that is very, very hard because your brain is used to all these bad habits that you've trained your brain to stick to. Like you kept breaking your rules, you kept breaking your promises, you kept FOMOing in, okay? You kept revenge trading, you kept overtrading. All of these things, they reinforce these bad habits in your brain. And now you need to like retrain your brain into doing the opposite. And that is really, really hard, right? But that is the only possible first step that you can take in order to build discipline, because you need to build good habits and remove the bad ones, right? Because these good habits will lead to discipline. So every single day, every single action that you actually take day in, day out leads to either you becoming a disciplined and consistent profitable trader, or it leads to you becoming a more and more unprofitable trader because you keep breaking your own rules and your own promises to yourself, right? So that is the harsh truth of trading that I wanted to talk with you about. And that is really, really hard, as I said, because if it was simple, everybody would have done it, right? If it was simple, if it was easy, everybody would be profitable. But the facts show that that's not the case. So put in the work, okay? This is really, really important. Be aware of the fact that strategy is the easy part of trading, okay? The actually harder part is trading psychology, rewiring and retraining your brain to get into a state of self-awareness, right? In order to execute that strategy, right? Of course, you need to have both parts. If you only focus on trading psychology, but you have a shit strategy or a strategy that doesn't have a proven statistical edge, of course, that doesn't help you as well. You need to have both, right? And yeah, I just wanted to make you aware of that. So another very important thing in trading is money management, okay? Because what is trading? Trading is not like a 9-to-5, right? In a 9-to-5, if you're currently working a 9-to-5, you get a salary every single week or every single month, right? So you can rely on that. That's like plannable, right? But if you're a trader, I need you to understand that in trading, it's not about like, okay, you get a payout every single week or you get a payout every single month, because markets are changing, market conditions are changing. So in order to not get stuck in that, how do I say, in order to plan your trading payouts better, you need to be able to adapt to the markets, right? So you need to have a strategy which is also adaptable to the market conditions. That's what I want to say, because you can't rely on weekly and monthly payouts. So you need to learn how to manage your money properly. That's what I want to say. So whenever you get a payout, right, you need to budget that. Okay, you need to think ahead of that, because as I said, trading is not like a 9-to-5. You can't plan like with every single week's or month's salary, right? You need to learn how to manage your personal budget, right? You need to build your profit buffer, okay? You need to build a buffer for the bad times, because in trading, it's always up and downs, right? So there will be good times, there will be bad times. So in order to survive the bad times, you need to build a profit buffer. Okay, you need to learn money management, how to manage your money well, so that you have money when you're currently in a bad market condition or in a bad phase of your trading strategy, right? And that's what I want to tell you, because trading is a business, right? Trading is not like gambling in a casino. Trading is actually a business, so you need to learn how to manage your money properly and yeah, how to basically survive within the markets, right? So yeah, that's one other thing that I wanted to make sure that you understand. And also what most people or most traders out there get wrong is that trading is about every single trade that you take. It's actually not. Actually it is, yeah. So if you stick to your strategy, you need to take every single trade, right? Which is your A+ setup, because the sum or the all of that trades, the sample size of all that trades, they build your proven statistical edge, right? So what is trading about? Trading is about collecting data, right? And how do you actually collect data? You journal. This is very, very important. And most of the people are too lazy to journal. And that's also a main reason why they are unprofitable, because they don't collect data, they don't journal. How are you supposed to know if you have a statistical edge in the markets if you don't journal your trades? Yeah? You have to have at least months of backtests, months of data of your backtested trades in order for you to say, okay, I have a proven statistical edge or I don't, right? And most people don't put in the work, because in this exact topic, like collecting data in your trading journal, that's the only way how you convince your brain and your subconscious mind into developing that confidence that you need in order to execute that strategy in the live markets. And that is so important, to build confidence and full conviction towards your own trading strategy, because if you don't have that, how are you supposed to execute the strategy in live markets, right? So you need to put in the work in backtesting, also in forward testing your strategy, because otherwise you won't be able to build that confidence and that full conviction towards your trading strategy, right? So put in the work. All right, so if you haven't backtested your strategy yet, like at least for a couple of months, you have to do that in order to build that confidence, right? That is really, really important for the second part of trading, which is trading psychology, which is rewiring, retraining your brain and get to the state of self-awareness, right? So that was the video. That was all the topics I wanted to talk with you about in this video. This is really, really important. Please, if you didn't understand it, watch this video again and just put in the work, man. Just put in the work, because as I said, strategy is the easy part. The harder part is the psychology, the retraining your brain and your nervous system and getting into that state of self-awareness. That's why there's the book, which is called Trading in the Zone, right? There's a reason for that. So if you want to read that book as well, go ahead. It's a really good book from Mark Douglas. And yeah, that's basically it. That's episode number 5 of the free TradeLikeVu bootcamp. If you've made it through this whole video, congratulations, you're you're able to become one of the people within that 1% of profitable traders, because all these profitable traders understand this very, very basic, but still very important concept that trading consists of 2 parts, not only the strategy, right? So, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode on day number 6, where we are finally going to dive deeper into technical analysis. So if you've made it until the end of this video, comment the word day 5 below this video to show that you were actually committed and that you've made it throughout the whole video. And I'll see you tomorrow on day number 6. Peace out.